Hey everybody, and thanks for joining us for yet another live update on the tropics. Meteorologist Leslie Hudson for MyRadar. I promise you we're going to try and make this worth your time. We're going to do what we call Zeta by the numbers. We want to try and give you an overview and kind of just finalize all that happened in these last 24 hours and kind of look ahead what we're looking at in these next couple of days. So we're going to be kind of unpacking all of that as we get into these next few minutes. So we thank you for stopping in and checking out the video. I know the live stream, I know a lot of people are really tired of hearing about tropical systems. Hopefully we are done with landfalling systems in the US, but you know, it's too early to say that for sure. But what I did want to show you is what's going on with the remnants of Zeta right now. So we've got the app open, we have the wind layers toggled on, as well as our high definition radar. Zeta moved off the coast of the northeastern US a couple of hours ago. National Hurricane Center actually issued their last advisory with Zeta at 5 o'clock today. However, as you can see, there's still some rain in the area. That's actually due to the cold front that helped push Zeta off the northeastern US. And you can actually see the center. I'm going to kind of zoom in there. That broad area of low pressure that's just kind of elongated and ragged looking, several hundred miles east now of the northeastern US. And then as I kind of pull out the picture here, you can see that there's some snow filling in across the New England states. There's not going to be a lot of accumulation, but there's definitely going to be some snow on the ground in the morning, and there's going to be a lot of cold weather, and there's been a lot of wind as well. So let's take a look back at what Zeta dished out, and the first video we're going to show you is a time lapse out of New Orleans. This is in uptown New Orleans, a time lapse that starts at the beginning of when the weather started to get really bad. And notice the wind direction, because that's going to be a big player as we get into the time lapse here. So you'll notice in these next 40 seconds or so that again it speeds up the actual progression of Zeta. The actual eye itself moved over New Orleans, and the last time that they saw that happen was with Hurricane Isidore in 2002. So the Big Easy has actually not had a direct eye wall move over their area in several years. And fortunately, you know, this was not a Katrina or a powerful, dangerous, very dangerous hurricane, but you know, a strong Cat 2, weak Cat 3 is nothing to squawk at. But you can see there how all of a sudden the winds change direction. The skies open up. You even can see the sun setting for a few images there. An incredible picture. There's several pictures on social media that show these bright blues and purples in the sky. It was just incredible to see. And then of course things get very nasty and very mean yet again as the winds come on the back side, the south side of the eye, as it moves right over New Orleans. So incredible time lapse here. We also have some video from our very own Aaron Jack. He did an incredible job. He rode out Hurricane Zeta yesterday, chased the eye wall itself. This next video is out of in the Gulfport area, and he said that the winds there were much worse for him than they were where he originally was, which was in Bay St. Louis. So look at those traffic signals just ripping there with those winds that were estimated around 100 miles an hour in Gulfport. And by the way, Gulfport got one of the higher storm surges, around 8 feet at best estimate. We'll get an official estimate from the Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service when they go out and survey the damage in the coming days. But boy, was it incredible to see the winds that were ripping with Zeta last night. And then our last video is also from Aaron. He was out looking at storm damage today, and he is over in another part of Mississippi where he's looking at the storm surge. And look at this graveyard, if you will, of cars, several cars, multiple cars that were tossed around from that surge. And as I mentioned, Mississippi got anywhere from 6 to 8 feet of that wall of water that comes in straight off the Gulf of Mexico. It's when the Gulf of Mexico and the land become one. This is in Long Beach, Mississippi, and those cars are not normally parked there. They're not normally on the grass and disheveled like that. So this was all thanks to the storm surge that carried and lofted these cars several hundreds of yards away from their original destination, and pretty incredible to see that as well. And Aaron did mention that there was substantial damage in all of the areas that he went through today. You know, a lot of roof damage, and there was also a lot of damage, you know, to buildings, but thankfully, you know, he didn't see catastrophic damage. But certainly, this area of the country is going to be repairing itself from Zeta in these coming weeks and coming months. And one of the other big problems was the winds. So let's go ahead and take a look at the peak winds that were going on across the southeastern part of the United States over the last 24 hours. Now this is when Zeta came onshore. So this is these numbers are official numbers from the National Weather Service, and you can see that they were pretty impressive. Now these were, take a look at the numbers. So we kind of start at the top there. In Bayou Benue, the winds were around 112 miles an hour. And that is substantial winds, you guys. And then in Bay Waveland is where Aaron was for several hours last night. Winds 104. In Gulfport, Mississippi, winds were at 101 miles an hour. In Shell Beach, Louisiana, top wind of 101 as well. In Laplace, Louisiana, winds right around 100 miles an hour as well. Biloxi, Mississippi, right at 90 miles an hour. Again, these are sustained winds. And then in the on the Pontchartrain Causeway, which is elevated, the winds there were around 74. So that's right at hurricane strength that they were dealing with these incredible winds for several hours. And one of the things that you may have heard about on social media is, just the incredible fast moving nature of Zeta and how quickly it came in and then how quickly it left. We talked about that yesterday, that this system was going to only be in the area for an hour or two if you live in that area and you didn't evacuate, and then it would be gone. But boy, did it leave a trail of destruction in its wake. And still, there is an incredible amount of damage to assess. But let me show you the radar. We're going to take you back over to WSI, and I wanted to show you that cold front and again, a Zeta off the coast of the U.S., but there are warnings in place. Those aren't tropical warnings. There's freeze warnings up into parts of the northeastern U.S. and those areas shaded in purple. The areas you see shaded in that like bright pink color are marine warnings, because the winds are still pretty nasty there. So the winds are gusting anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour. So as folks get out the door tomorrow morning, there's still going to be some blustery conditions, and there's also going to be that big drop in the temperatures. So you had this tropical cyclone that moved over your area today, and then tomorrow, bam, a big old slam from Old Man Winter. So it's just going to be the stark contrast. Temperatures have been dropping since Zeta moved off the coast of the U.S., and it's going to stay cold for a couple of days. Now here's a look at the current wind gusts, and they're certainly doable. This is not a big deal. Anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour are sustained winds. Not a big deal, just a breezy night for folks. But as I mentioned, as that cold front pushes across the northeastern U.S., you're going to certainly see an influx and a push of that colder air. Now here's a look at the storm reports. I wanted to show you these because you can see that swath of damage that goes from the northern Gulf Coast up into the Carolinas and then straight up into the mid-Atlantic and up into the Northeast. So it followed the exact track of where Zeta was going, obviously. But there were several hundred wind reports here on this map, and there was also not only that, but extensive down power lines and power outages. At the peak of the worst power outages, it was around 2.7 million people. Now we have a graphic that we can show you that shows the power outages within those last hours. So this moderates just a bit. Crews are out now in some areas where the winds are below 30 miles an hour, and they're able to take a look at the power lines and trying to restore things. But here's a look at the power grid again that follows that storm report just to a T. So when we look at the numbers here, again, Zeta by the numbers, the Louisiana currently has about 385,000 people without power. We're looking at Mississippi at about 180,000, just shy of that. Alabama about 360,000, just a few less. Georgia about 445,000 people. I'm rounding up, of course, to round numbers. South Carolina about 100,000. North Carolina about 215,000 people without power, and Virginia about 17,000 people. So again, at the worst of this, the whole Southeast and Mid-Atlantic earlier today was about 2.7 million, and we're still dealing with a fair amount of power outages. And the crews there, especially the northern Gulf Coast, said it's going to be a long repair job, because remember, they had Hurricane Delta, they had Hurricane Laura, which did substantial damage just to the west of where Zeta came in, and then of course they got a 1-2 punch here with Zeta, and so the infrastructure there is very, very vulnerable. So they have said, the crews down there said, it's going to take a long time to actually try to repair everything. So unfortunately, if you live there, if you have family there, It's usually about a week to get power restored after a hurricane comes through, but crews are estimating that it's going to take longer than that, and there will be crews all around the country that will come and try and help restore the power grids and get them back online all around the country. They were already, even before a hurricane makes landfall, you may see video, we've certainly shown it, where power crews, even from here in Florida, along the southeast, neighboring states will get together, band together, and get the crews ready to go right into where the hurricane made landfall. And as soon as the winds get below 30 miles an hour, those crews are out there. They are dedicated to try and restore power to folks. But again, the officials there, especially in Louisiana and Mississippi, are saying it's probably going to take more than a week to get power restored, which is, of course, not what people want to hear. Halloween is this weekend, of course, and we're going to be, just flying into holiday season after that. So hopefully, they'll get the power restored sooner than later, but it could be a while. All right, back to WSI, Matt. We're going to take that fold. I wanted to show you the SATRAD. This is the imagery from the last 24 to 30 hours. So you can see down at the bottom there, of course, Zeta, the outer peripheral bands of Zeta as it moved closer towards Louisiana. Landfall, by the way, was 4 p.m. Central Time in Cocodrie, Louisiana, and then just raced up through the Carolinas into the southeastern U.S., and then kind of got absorbed by that front. So again, it didn't become a super hurricane or a super cold front. It just kind of got absorbed. So the jet stream was very dynamic. We had a northern branch of the jet stream and the southern branch, and the southern branch is what helped to catapult and loft Zeta very quickly through the mid-Atlantic and then up into the Northeast. So, there's still some residual rain, as I mentioned. There's going to be some snow as well, but that's actually from the cold front, obviously not from a tropical cyclone. And there's still a little bit of rain to work with. So between now and Saturday on Halloween, we could be getting another 1 inch or 2. Certainly not much. I just wanted to show this to you guys because some of that's going to be snow, especially up in the Northeast and upstate New York, maybe parts of Vermont and up into Maine might get a light dusting. And then there's a little bit of residual rain in parts of Philly. New York City might get a little bit of rain through the remainder of tonight and into tomorrow. And here's a look at our future cast, which again kind of shows the stronger storms that have moved well off the coast of New England, but there's still the backside of that front that's got to push off the U.S. coast, and that's going to bring in those showers. And you can see that band of snow. This is not expected to stay on the ground, by the way, not expected to be a big deal for New England. They are used to big time snow events and blizzards, but there is going to be that movement of the snow as that low pressure center pulls everything off the coast as we get into tonight and into tomorrow. And then by Halloween for the Northeast, it's actually looking pretty good. Well, of course, you may have already heard about this, but I got to let you know that there is still an area of low pressure that we're tracking in the Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center's been talking about this for the last couple of days. You can see it over the Leeward Islands. Let me grab my pointer here real quick because my graphic is actually kind of blocking it. So you can see a big burst of activity right here. Boy, it certainly looks healthy. National Hurricane Center gives it about a 30% chance of development in the next 2 days and about a 70% development over the next 5 days. Now, I will tell you where it is right now is not climatologically a favored area. The trade winds are extremely hostile down there, and they tend to shear apart tropical formation, and that's possibly what could be going on here. It does look very energized tonight. We'll see what the Hurricane Center says tomorrow morning. It is expected to move into the central Gulf over the next couple of days, and this is where they give it about a 70% chance of development. But the caveat being, some of the long-range model and most of the long-range models take this into Central America and not up into the Gulf of Mexico. So a little bit too early to say for sure that we can write this one off, but we're, of course, watching this one for you. And, of course, there's at least 30 some odd days left. I think, 31 or 32 days left in hurricane season. But Mother Nature doesn't follow the calendar. We've certainly had tropical systems that have formed well after hurricane season, even up into the month of January. There has been records of tropical formation. They're usually hybrid storms, so not usually true, tropical cyclones, but we certainly have had systems develop outside the hurricane season. We hope that's not the case, obviously, over these next 31 or 32 days, but want to let you know that we're watching that one as well. All right, let me show you the quick look at the forecast, and then I'm going to wrap things up. I wanted to give you guys a quick update, again, just to kind of put a bow on everything, if you will, and kind of put Zeta to bed, and hopefully everybody can start repairing and rebuilding after what has been an extremely long hurricane season, especially for Louisiana. 5 storms they got this hurricane season. 3 of those were hurricanes, and they deserve a well-deserved break. And I hope you guys have a fantastic winter, because it's been tough. I know. Our hearts go out to you. All right, here's a look at the cold front that I mentioned that's going to bring in some snow tomorrow morning across the New England area. It drags through Florida, and by the way, here in Florida, it's been really warm. Florida's going to get a nice drop, lower humidities and cooler temperatures. The southeastern U.S. all going to be enjoying this taste of fall, and it's looking pretty good. What'd you say, Matt? Yes, yes, finally. I thought, what happened? Did the stream die? I didn't hear what he said. So, yeah, we're finally going to get a nice change of weather, and that'll be nice because Halloweens in Florida are usually really, really hot. So it's nice to, at least at this point, it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break. All right, there's one last look at the infrared. Just wanted to show you, I'm sorry, not the infrared, the radar, the reflectivity. And I'm going to take a quick look on social media, see if I see anything, if there's... we got 1 loyal viewer on YouTube, and that so thank you for watching. People are so sick of the tropics. I know they are, but I appreciate you guys, that the few of you that are here watching. We try and show you this stuff because there are people that are interested, especially that live in this area of the country. Matt, do you see any questions or anyone that we want to give a shout out to, or any last minute thoughts before we turn things off for the night? Oh, is Sandy Rose in the house? Okay, I don't see it on YouTube. She's probably, yeah, she's probably in bed. It's late. It's 10:30, so she's probably gone to sleep. But anyway, just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at. And Matt Hyland, our production coordinator, doing a fantastic job this week, manning the bus for me. And, Mike Linden did a great job with Damian McFarland earlier today and yesterday. And so we hope that we offered you guys some useful information to help keep you safe, navigate these storms, and we are hoping, fingers crossed, that this will be the last one for this hurricane season. We'll see. I want to remind you guys that starting next week, we will have a wildfire series that we're launching. So make sure you keep up to date on that. We'll be sending out some promotional videos on our social media pages coming up here very soon, so you can check that out. We'll be talking about the unprecedented wildfire season in the western part of the country this year, and then looking ahead past that, we'll be doing a live hurricane season wrap-up on November 30th or December 1st. We're still trying to figure the exact date, but either the last day of hurricane season or the day after. So make sure you tune into that. And then we will have one yet live show, the top 10 weather events of 2020. So lots of things we're working on. There's several sweepstakes going on. I believe we're giving away an iPhone. I believe Mike's going to be doing that in the next couple of days. We reached 70,000 subscribers on YouTube. So there is another iPhone or some other Pixel. I think the Pixel 5 is the latest one. So there is a new phone in your future. If you subscribe to our channel, you can see the handles. I'm assuming, Matt, you have those up. So if not, make sure you subscribe, because you have to be subscribed to our channel, our YouTube channel, to win a brand new phone. And wouldn't that make a neat little holiday gift? Oh, in the super chat. Yeah, I don't know if we saw any. I didn't see any on this one, but Sandy was our first one yesterday. So if you want to, in any live event that we do, if you want to ask us a question, you have a comment, you have some feedback, and you want to make sure we see it, if you will donate whatever dollar amount you feel is appropriate, that money will go to Feeding America, the nonprofit group that helps disaster victims, gives them food on their tables when they don't have a place to get food. So, we welcome you guys to do that too in the coming weeks and months. We just got permission to do that from YouTube, I think this week. So that will be a feature that you guys can do as well. And we would appreciate the support, and we know the nonprofit would as well, Feeding America. Okay. That's going to do it, you guys, for tonight. Hey, I got to remind you, Halloween is this weekend. Matt and I are going to be recording a very special edition of the Halloween Fast Forecast. Make sure you check it out on Saturday. It is going to be full of surprises, special effects, experiments, and a couple of tricks up our sleeves. You're not going to want to miss it. Fast Forecast this Halloween on Saturday. And don't forget, it is daylight savings time. We fall back 1 hour on Sunday. So after the big shindig on Halloween, you get an extra hour of sleep on Sunday. So we'll have some video on that as well, you guys. Okay, that's going to do it. It is just shy of 10:40 p.m. Eastern time here in Orlando, Florida. Thank you again for sticking with us and our ongoing coverage of Hurricane Zeta, now a post-tropical cyclone headed out to sea. I am Chief Meteorologist Leslie Hudson for MyRadar. Thank you so much for staying with us. Stay safe and have a great night.